Today I have a fun video for you. I actually had the opportunity to interview and just have a discussion with the founder of Ziip Beauty, Melanie Simon. Now, if you're not familiar, Ziip is a microcurrent device. This is the original. This is a fantastic at-home microcurrent, handheld microcurrent device that comes with an app, a free app that has the most amazing tutorials and facials, etc. This has been my favorite microcurrent, my microcurrent of choice for years now. I've been recommending it above all others for years, and I love it. Well, recently they updated the device and they came out with something they're calling the Halo. It's just the updated version. I did do a video, kind of an unboxing of the Halo and a comparison to the original. I will link that video down below. But I knew after I got the new device that I was going to want to pick Melanie's brain again, and thankfully she agreed to do that. So I got on a call with her, and you will notice that we're in a different environment because I was actually traveling, doing a little behind the scenes recon with another beloved brand down in San Francisco, and that will be coming sometime soon. So I'm in a hotel room, but basically I asked her all the questions that I thought you might have. I picked her brain about microcurrent, about nanocurrent, and we had a basic kind of esthetician to esthetician conversation that I think might be just kind of interesting to all of you if you're into skincare. So I do hope you will tune in. I will put in the description box timestamps for you. So if there are certain questions that you really want answered, it was well over an hour call that I kind of trimmed down to, I think, 35 minutes or something. But I think that you will be intrigued by some of her answers about this new little device. And then I think you will gather some really great bits of information about skincare and about microcurrent along the way, because every single time I talk to her, I learn something new. She is just really incredibly versed in all things microcurrent, and it's fascinating. So if you're new here, my name is Penny. I'm a master esthetician. I'm super excited that you're here. I do hope you will subscribe to this channel before you go. I love to do these kind of interviews. I love to do discussions with other experts or experts where I am not. And obviously I love to do all things skincare related. So definitely, if you haven't, please do subscribe. And if you are a subscriber and you're here watching, thank you so much for being here. I will see you on the other side of this little interview. Melanie, it's so good to have you here. If you could just start by giving us a little bit of your background, telling us a little bit about yourself for anybody who doesn't already know you.
Yes, I'd love to. Hi, I'm Melanie Simon. I'm the founder of Ziip. I am an electrical esthetician of over 20 years. You're probably thinking, well, maybe your group is not wondering what an electrical esthetician is, because they know as much as I do almost. I build waveform combinations with many different machines that I put into my client's skin, and their facial almost entirely revolves around different electrical currents built together to put into the skin at that moment for certain outcomes.
For someone who's new to microcurrent, can you explain the benefits and just the kind of the general gist of microcurrent?
Yes. Microcurrent is very, very effective when it comes to looking for more collagen and looking for more elastin in the skin. What we know 100% is that microcurrent increases your ATP production, and your ATP, it's simply, think of it, it's nicknamed your molecular currency. So when you ingest something and you want to convert that into, as we were talking about, collagen or elastin, you need ATP to do that. And as we age, like most things, ATP drops off in the body. So you aren't able to convert and make as much collagen and elastin in your skin. You can't take a bunch of ATP because the body doesn't store ATP. And we've seen that microcurrent can kick up your ATP production by up to 500%, which is why you see those results right away. But you also wake up the next day and the following day and you're seeing better and better results, because your body then goes to convert and make that collagen and elastin out of what is in your body that needs to be utilized. That's really how we absolutely know that it works, but it also does stimulate the muscle tissue and stimulate the lymphatic system. Now, there are lots of characteristics in a waveform. So when I say microcurrent, that's just the strength of a waveform. There's also the shape of the waveform. There's also the frequency of a waveform. When people talk high frequency, low frequency, it means simply how many times frequently per second is the waveform gonna hit? So that the frequency really affects the lymphatic system. So if you think about it and you're holding your device right here over the lymph node and it's 60 hertz, that means it's pumping your lymph nodes 60 times per second, which nothing else can touch that in terms of lymphatic drainage. Muscle, same thing. You're getting that muscle contraction. Depending on how I built the waveform, it might be slower because I want to build muscle. It might be faster because I want to lengthen. All of those characteristics create a different outcome.
I think that ATP is one of the most under-recognized, underappreciated facets of skincare in general, because really all we're doing is harnessing our own power for our body to do everything it's supposed to do better. Okay, so tell us the story of Halo. How did this come to be? You already had a device that is fantastic, probably my single favorite at-home device that I have, for sure. It's not probably, it is. So how did you go from that, and how did you get to Halo?
So what's so amazing about the Halo is that I have so much feedback from the Ziip community. Over 7 years of feedback, millions and millions of downloaded and finished treatments, and all of that feedback that I get from people doing events, the one-on-ones, the estheticians, the makeup artists, all of that together has really gone into the development of the Halo. What is best for the user? How long do they typically like to do treatments? Do they like freeform better than prescribed? And how can I keep the integrity of the device by making it simpler to use, but you're still getting those professional grade results? And then, of course, the evolution of the technology, really taking it to the next level. It's those two things combined really make up the Halo.
You know, it's interesting. I did a treatment this morning. I just did a down to the box treatment. I didn't even sync up to the app, which I love to do. And I've told my community, I mean, I performed microcurrent in the treatment room myself when I was in the treatment room. And so I'm really familiar, and I feel like I get free form all day long. But I would like to hook up to the app too, because it's mindless. It's so easy to sit there. And truly, you do feel like you're there with you. I mean, you've really done a fantastic job with the app is phenomenal. So tell me about the new treatments with the Halo, and tell me about the ones that are not there, that are in the original. And are you thinking about adding them in? There are a few that are not there that we've already heard from people like, oh, we miss X, Y, and Z. And if they're not going to be in the Halo list, is there a way to create that from the facials that you have there?
Yes. So just like the GX app, the Halo app is going to evolve, and the GX app is not going to sit unloved either. So the GX app will continue to be dynamic as well, as will the Halo. More treatments will be introduced to the Halo. What I really wanted to do with Halo, I mean, I have hundreds and hundreds of treatments. I wanted to get some feedback from the Halo community before I determine. I already know what's going to be next, which we won't talk about right now, but then what will be the evolution from that? What do people want? What do they like to use best? Of course, that's all going to be incorporated. Absolutely.
So that actually was one of my questions, was, will you be adding to the original, app? And that is so awesome to hear, because of course, I mean, frankly, the original device, and I said this, it's fantastic. It's amazing. A wonderful device. And so that's wonderful, because those existing people obviously will love to get love in the app as well. So that's super cool. Okay, tell us about the gels, because obviously you've created a new gel. I have to say that I think it's fantastic that it is economical, because I'm sure that is some of the feedback that you got as well. I used I admit that I've gotten the Halo, and I used the original gels with it at first because I love them so much. And today I was like, you got to use the new gel. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful gel. And it has still, for me, it still has that same, the primary reason why I love, aside from the ingredients, is the fact that they don't dry down. I think that that's fantastic. You do not have to keep going in and putting on more gel. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with the new gel, and how someone would, let's say they buy the Halo and then they finish through the Halo gel. How do they decide which gel? Do they repurchase that? Or what would be the motivation for buying one of the obviously more expensive gels that have a little bit more ingredient love in them? Maybe.
Yeah. The whole idea of the electric complex gel is that I wanted to launch a gel that is basically the base of the golden, the silver, and the crystal gel. So you're getting the ease of treatment, you're getting the efficacy, your skin isn't drying out, you're going to be able to do your moves. It's going to really get you to be able to successfully complete a treatment. The other gels, we're adding those active bundles in with that gel so that you're really driving those actives into the skin. So think of the electric complex gel as you've got the base, but you don't have active ingredients. If you want to step up to active ingredients, then you make your decision. Do I want to go for the golden gel? Really all about a heavy load of growth factors and peptide complexes that are really about keeping your skin young. Now, if you're in your 20s, I don't recommend golden gel for you because it is such a heavy load. These gels are highly concentrated. I developed them to really give you the effect of, I've put a mask, I've layered tons of serums on the skin. Now I'm going to drive it in with my current. That's really the point of those actives being bundled into your gel, as you don't have your esthetician there to soak your skin in elastine extract, placenta, vitamin C, growth factors. Instead, it's bundled right into your gel and you don't have to think about it. But golden, you're really going, as I said, for those growth factors. You're going for that combination. You want to keep the skin young. You've started to notice things are needing that love. They're not as firm as they used to be. You're going for golden. Crystal, it's all about feeding the skin. So I think of that as like vitamins for the skin because you're getting tons of amino acids, which really are going to make your skin glow so beautifully. And the crystal gel, that's the favorite of all the makeup artists. It is, we can say that it's made with organic ingredients because it's over 85% organic. All the gels are clean, but the crystal gel, honestly, it's almost edible. So you really, people love that gel, and it also comes off really nicely. They all come off nicely, but I think the crystal comes off the easiest. So think of that like you're feeding your skin from the outside in. It also has cedar bark extract, which is going to protect the skin just like cedar bark would. Then when we go to silver, silver's my favorite gel for, I typically say, and I don't like to say if your skin is reactive, because the silver gel is an amazing formulation. It's not just about sensitive skin, but if you're sensitive at all, you do want to go for silver 100% because it has aloe water, there's cucumber water. It's really calming, but it also gives you this nice kick with a Japanese hyaluronic acid. It's a super small molecular size. When you have that in skincare, it's like, oh, okay, cool. But when you're driving it in with microcurrent, you're really getting like, whoa, this is sort of like filler. Look at that plump. Look at how my skin's glowing. That's really what you're going to go for with the silver. So depending on what your goal is, you pick the gel for that. You can also mix gels together. You can use one on Monday, one on Friday. It's really up to you and what you want to feed your skin at that moment, because you do drive quite a bit of the product into the skin, which is why it's so important that they're clean formulas.
It's interesting that you say that about like being like a mask, because just today when I did that and when I removed it with like a soft cloth. I didn't wash my face after. And that's exactly, I felt like I just had the most amazing hydrating mask on and kind of prepped for the rest of my skincare and then makeup. And so that's just, to me, it's almost like an added benefit that it's like this supercharged, literally, mask that you put on.
And there's no doubt about it because of what you just said. No one can deny that when you use your gel, you do your treatment, you take it off. For instance, I'll layer 7 products. I cannot do that after I zip because my skin is so hydrated. I can maybe get through about 4, maybe 5 if I really take my time, but your skin is so
saturated.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so important because if you're driving something into your skin that is a terrible quality, you're just poisoning your skin from the outside in. You've done all this work, but you've been counterproductive with what you're pushing into the skin. It's hugely important. And the Ziip is so sophisticated, so complicated. The gels are are probably the most complex formulas I can think of. There is so much that goes into it. They're read for conductivity. Each ingredient has to really be tested at max capacity being driven into the skin. It still has to have slip. It can't dry out. I mean, there's so many factors when it comes to gel that are very important.
And, it's funny because I haven't used another conductivity gel in years now. And I remember, though, the difference between a gel drying on your face as you're doing a treatment and having to rehydrate and, whatnot. And that feeling of your skin getting tighter versus getting more hydrated and feeling more plumped up and everything. It's a huge difference. And then the difference in the result after, yes, you've just applied the current and that's all great, but your actual epidermis doesn't feel and look as nice if it just got dried out 10 times while you're doing a treatment. I mean, that's just skincare. I mean, like that's just the bottom line,
Right? Bottom line. And
yeah.
I mean, you've done those facials where you're trying something new and you're doing a treatment and it's drying out, and it's a terrible experience. The results are nowhere near what you want them to be. I'd say your result is like 10% of what you could have. Yeah. So it is.
I've said that to people before. I would do a treatment and maybe microcurrent, maybe anything else that's like non-invasive. And most of what happened with their glow, or, they walk out and the front desk manager be like, oh my gosh, you look amazing, is hydration. I mean, that's a lot of it. People walk in, they're dehydrated. It exacerbates wrinkles. It makes everything look worse. Obviously, dehydration. Hydrating the skin alone makes you just look so much better. So this is super cool.
100%.
We know that one of the differences that sets the Ziip in general apart from every other microcurrent is the nanocurrent. So I would love for you to, I know we did this in the video before, but for everybody who's new or doesn't know, just give us a breakdown of nano, what it is, what it means to the skin, etc. And what it is in the Halo and how it's different from the original. Like, is it incorporated differently?
So nanocurrent, when I first started my practice, I started with microcurrent and I got these amazing results. But I had a clientele list that saw me regularly. So they were coming pretty often. And what I heard was, this is amazing. This treatment's amazing, but it does drop. It doesn't last as long as I want it to. It's not cumulative. And, it's expensive. And so I started going down this wormhole, really researching electrical current in the body. Now, there are very important things here. Number one, most important, is alternating current over direct current. Alternating directional current is great when you want something to happen, like I'm trying to get rid of bacteria. I'm trying to kill acne. I've got pigmentation and imbalance in my pigmentation. I want to use positive current to shut the pore down. Those are things that you do for a few minutes to get a specific goal. But when you want to really encourage long-term skin health, alternating current is far superior. And all that means is there's no positive or negative. It's just running back and forth. There's no up or down. It's equal between the probes versus negative, positive. Now, between the treatments on Ziip, it does switch. Like I said, there are directional treatments, but that's only for when I want a specific outcome, and you only get a little bit of time with that. That is the most important thing. You must have alternating current in your routine. Next, I found if you go beyond 500 microamps, you actually create cellular death. You'll actually see necrotic tissue. You'll actually see inflammation and swelling, and it might look great right now because you're puffy, and then it's going to be worse. So you do not want to go beyond 500 microamps. Then I found a lot of different studies with the skin out there and regeneration. The beauty really happens in the nano range. So there's microcurrent, which is 1/1,000,000th of 1 single ampere, which is 1 unit of energy. It's very tiny. Microcurrent is 1/1,000,000th, so minuscule. Nanocurrent is 1/1,000,000th, and it is much more in sync with the human body and the human skin. When you get into that nano range, you typically don't feel anything because it's right on par with the electrical impulses we send throughout our body from the brain to the body. This range of current really encourages long-term repair. I'm not driving in there to stimulate the muscle or stimulate or pump the lymph node. I'm putting this message into the skin that the skin cells really read and register as a message from the brain to repair. And then the body starts to do this work. It's sort of like ATP, but in a different way. We're teaming up. We're getting that ATP, and we're also letting the body think, hey, this message came from you as well. And that's why when you wake up, you really see a better result the next day from nanocurrent, much better than you see right afterward. You look so much better the next day. Where microcurrent, you definitely look best right after, and you still look good the next day and the next day, but it's peaked right after you've done it. Nanocurrent will peak 24, 48, 72 hours after you've done it. It's really nice to have the two together, micro and nano, which is what I've done with the Halo in the default treatment, which is the lift. So anytime you turn that device on, and you don't have to care where it is because I cycle it through micro, nano, micro, nano, micro, nano. So no matter what you're doing, you're getting a nice, even micro, nano, nice, even blanket treatment. And you really don't have to think, oh, this is where my nano stroke is. This is my micro, nano. You don't need to think about that. It's cycled through equally. So you're getting a nice fill of both.
It's again, enabling your body to go to work. And I think that this also speaks to being consistent with microcurrent. You get, obviously if you get some instant gratification and then you get results 24, 48, 72 hours later, obviously if you repeat the treatment, consistently, periodically, you can see how those results continue to be there. They are, and there they build, and there they are, and there they build. And I really appreciated too. I was looking at I was on the Ziip website and how it said, give yourself 6 weeks to really start to see. And I love that because I think that people need to really understand that consistency is everything. It's like you can have all the devices in the world. If you don't pick them up and use them on a regular basis, you're not going to get anything. The same with this.
I say it's like a lot in threes. I see a lot after 3 sessions in a week. I see a lot after 21 days, 3 weeks. I see a ton after 6 weeks. So try to give yourself those markers like, okay, week 1, I'm going to do every other day and really see what happens. There is no way you're not going to see an impact. At the 3-week point, it's pretty phenomenal. And then when you've pushed on to that 6-week point, doing it 3 times a week, you just start to see all kinds of amazing stuff. It's pretty incredible.
I agree. Okay, so I have some questions to ask you that came from my community via the private Facebook group and also under YouTube videos, etc. So I'm going to look down for just a second. Microamps. I got a little bit of feedback that the new device has the capability to go over 400 microamps. Can you just speak to that a little bit and let people know what does that mean? And is that a thing yet, or is that just a capability thing for future possibilities or something?
Yes. So the Halo device has the ability to access even more intensities of waveforms. So before, with the GX, we had the ability to go up to 400 microamps and many different levels within there, 100, 200, 400 microamps. With the Halo, I've got even more options within the range. So 1, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way up to 500. So that with the GX, I had the capability to build 20 million waveform combinations. With the Halo, it's almost infinite, the ability that I have. And I really wanted 500. As I said, I will never go beyond 500 microamps because it can be detrimental to the body and to the skin. But I wanted to have the ability to get up to 500 microamps so that I could I want to start doing more on the décolleté and more on the top of the shoulders and more arms, and 500 will really come in handy there. I don't know that I will use it on the face because 400 really does get that job done. But when you get to these areas, you really can use a higher range of current to get the most, effective treatment.
No, that makes complete sense. And that's actually really exciting. I mean, that's I look forward to. That's super cool. Okay. So this is a question we got from the community. Does microcurrent affect Botox? Does it break down fillers? Can it move fillers? Can you just speak to that, the kind of the combination of if you get in office treatments and what microcurrent, how it might affect that?
Yes. And I always consult my dermatologist, Dr. Rhonda Rand. She was named one of the top 10 dermatologists worldwide by Town and Country, Harvard Medical School graduate. She's been in this business for over 30 years. She's the best in the business, in my opinion. And she always tells me, once you've done your filler or your Botox and you've let it really sit in for that 7 days, it's not going anywhere. And that's why I always say, make sure you wait that solid week. And if you're doing a more aggressive laser treatment, like a Fraxel CO2, you need to wait 2 weeks. You need to wait until that inflammation has really gone down before you start again. It's not moving. Now, if you do it before that and it really hasn't set up, anything can happen. And that's why I always err on the side of caution.
And that's when I was in office, and the doctor that I worked with is an injector, an aesthetic doctor. And we usually told people with Botox even 2 weeks. And that was probably being overly cautious, but just simply so that you don't move the material around. I mean, like the material, if your Botox isn't completely working,
set in,
then
correct,
maybe don't do anything yet. I mean, you don't want
correct,
to move it around. And also, I've always said, and this is really just I might be wrong in this, but I think that because microcurrent is so good for your muscles, that when you have Botox, you're actually helping your muscle health as you're not going to change the neurotransmission that's not happening. You're not going to make your Botox last less long, but what you might be doing is keeping your muscles healthy while they're sitting there immobile. And so it's just kind of a nice compliment, in my opinion, to Botox.
Which is important because when you're constantly traumatizing that muscle, it affects the way that it's attached to the bone. Right. And you do start to see over time that, you might not have a single line, but that the muscle pads are literally
atrophied.
And just like we were talking about before, your dermatologist is not going to give you beautiful skin. They can help to relax those lines. They can help with pigmentation. They can fill an area, but that of the skin is only going to come from people like us. I wish that they concentrated on that more, to be honest, because you see people that get tons of money and they're expecting the world, but you get a portion. You still have to really take care of your skin.
Well, honestly, it's like going and getting Invisalign, getting your teeth all straight and then never brushing them again.
Correct.
Why would you ever do that? Or going and getting a good cleaning, but then you don't brush between till your next cleaning? Of course not. I mean, so, and to me, the everyday brushing is far more important than the every 6 month once cleaning. And
I just recently got a laser combination and I slacked on my skincare and I looked wretched after 2 weeks. I was looking myself in the mirror thinking, what am I going to do? This is terrible. And then I started, of course, going back to my normal routine and going back to my Ziip. And all of a sudden, then my skin looked great. But I sat there thinking, what is happening? It's finally happening to me. Oh, no. It really makes such a huge difference, especially when you have really good skincare and a really good home routine. And then when you don't do that, all of a sudden you think, oh, whoa, this is what it would be like if I didn't take care of my skin.
I've had that exact same experience with a laser treatment. And I mean, I crave my skincare. Like I can't wait to, not be
back on your
including like waiting,
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let's see. When will you be launching in other countries?
We imagine that that's happening within the month.
Oh, yay. Okay, good. Yeah, we have a lot of people abroad and they're very excited. So that's exciting. Could you tell us a little bit about the difference between the original and the new Halo? Like what do you see are the key differences in this new creation?
One of the biggest differences between the Halo and the GX is that the Halo defaults onto a treatment. And I got this from a lot of people who were prepping their clients for the red carpet. They said, I just want to turn it on and always know what's going to be on there. I don't know what I synced onto the device before, and I'm on the go. I need to know what's on there every single time I turn it on. That is so helpful in this day and age where we're constantly on the move. Time is a precious commodity. More so than money. And you want to know as soon as you turn that thing on, exactly what's going to happen, and you want to know how to use it, which I find myself doing all the time. I'll know I have 20 minutes. I don't have to think about anything. I just turn it on and I'll do the lift over and over and over until my time's up, wash my face and move on. And I'm getting nanocurrent and microcurrent. Also, another big difference with the Halo is when you turn it on, your band illuminates, but your treatment will not start until you connect. Then your band illuminates and glows. The Halo actually glows. I don't have gel. Oh, there it goes. And then your treatment starts. With the GX, you would turn it on and then you wouldn't necessarily know anything's happening until, of course, you've connected and then the light starts, but that's underneath the bottom of the GX. So it's hard to see when you're doing a treatment versus this Halo band. It's very obvious when the Halo glows that the treatment has started. Those are the two biggest. Also, the treatments on the app. So whether you're using the GX app or the Halo app, I designed these treatments in the way that I use all of my professional devices. So when I'm using one, it might be giving me an audio cue. The other might be vibrating in my hand. The other, I'm watching a clock. And so I knew that when we're at home, we have to have feedback with that device. We have to know, yes, it's glowing, it's working. We have to feel it vibrating to know, okay, do another movement, do another movement, do another movement. It's constantly communicating with you. When you get halfway done, you hear it ding once, bing, you go to the other side, you finish, didink, it turns itself off. And you very innately know what's going on. That is hugely, hugely important. And with this device, I would say clarity is a huge deal. That's some of the major advice that I've gotten back over time is people love to freeform. Especially people that are new to this modality, they love to freeform. Of course, there are a lot of people, and especially in this group, that are going to love those more technical treatments that are on the GX, that are more complicated, that you really do need to watch the videos to do. The Halo has much more ease of use, and I've really built into it on the back end the complexity in the treatment, but made it very easy to use. So you're getting that sophisticated treatment, but it's very easy to perform. Where on the GX, you're getting that sophisticated treatment, and you really do kind of need to follow the directions and know what you're doing with some of the treatments. Those are the big key differences. But no matter what, no matter which device you have, you absolutely are supported in the app. You know what you're doing. You're not left behind. And there's still a lot of feedback between both devices. The Halo has even more feedback.
And that's interesting because I find with the original and with the Halo, they're just so travel friendly. So yeah. It's definitely the device that's literally been all over the world with me. And when you're traveling, you don't necessarily want to pull out an app. You don't, and so I do that. Just today when I did it, I almost always, not always, but I often use the app. I enjoy it. But when you're traveling and when you're, I actually just ran through it 3 times, and I will say that I'm still relatively new to Halo, but it is innate. When you move, the beeps, I love the fact that you do the half of the face, you 2 minutes, it beeps, you just know what to do. It makes it so easy. And I agree. I mean, I found the original pretty easy too. I mean, I really did think it was but this is even easier. If possible, it's even easier. I've heard people talk about when they're following along in the app, and I watched I think it's the intro to Halo. It was one of those, it was like a little 3-minute. And you said in that video, you are not synced with this video. And I do think, explain that, because I actually think people are still a little bit confused.
Yes.
They think they're supposed to be moving with your hand in the video, but you're really a guide. Can you explain what's going on there?
Yes. And this was another big piece of feedback. People that were watching the app, that the video is controlling the device. The way that the app controls the device is that when you sync a treatment, absolutely, through the firmware, the device gets a message through the sky that changes whatever's going to come out of this device. So the circuit board inside of this can push out those, tens of millions of combinations of waveforms. They're not all held on here in the memory. One is held on the memory at a time. The app or your phone cues whatever treatment is on here to change. And when that happens, then you're doing the treatment. But the video does not control what's happening on this device. So many people would think, oh no, I'm one stroke behind the video. I better speed up because it's going to ding when the video dings. No. Well, as soon as your device starts to glow, the timer starts for your treatment. You just want to watch that video as a guidepost for where you should be, but you don't need to think, oh, right at this second, I need to be right where that is. If you're 1-2 strokes off, don't worry about it.
That's exactly. I've said to several people, and just in the last couple of weeks, don't stress. It's just a guide. It's meant to help you along. Like you're sitting there with your esthetician doing it together. But if you're slightly behind her, you're okay. It's don't stress over it. That's not what that's about. It's meant to help you, but it is not controlling your device. And I do think that's really important for people to understand. Okay, so if let's say somebody has the GX, they have the original, and they get the Halo, and they want to go back and forth, how do they go onto the app? And do they have to be on a different app? Is it the same app? How do they access that information?
So you access it through the exact same app, and there's a little toggle up here that says GX. You click that, and then you click over to Halo, and then you confirm the device, and then your Halo app pops up.
Awesome.
It's as simple as that. So you can toggle back and forth, and you'll see those different treatments right there for you.
Wonderful. And again, to reiterate, the original is not going away. The gels are not going away. And the original app and facials are going to get love. Those will get updates too. So everybody, we're all in the family of Ziip, and nobody's left behind. We're all together in this. Just depends on which device you've chosen.
Absolutely.
Okay, my friend. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, ladies.
Okay.
Have fun in San Francisco.
All right, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that discussion with Melanie Simon. Definitely comment down below. Say hi to Melanie. I know she would love it. If you have any further questions, leave them down below. Like I said, I will do my best to answer them or get them answered for you. Let me know if you picked up the new device, how you're liking it, what your impressions are, what you think of the app. She is interested in all of your feedback. So please do leave it down below. I know she will be reading the comments. I will certainly pass along any pertinent, feedback to her as well. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a really great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. And I'll talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.